Hi, and welcome to Building Impactful Financial Education Program sponsored by Wisconsin Literacy. Wisconsin Literacy is a nonprofit statewide coalition of 70 literacy agencies. We strengthen literacy statewide through expert trainings, personalized consultations, health literacy, workforce connections, and advocacy. I'm excited to introduce our presenters, Cooper Larson and Deb Paulsen. Cooper Larson is a community financial education coordinator at Royal Credit Union. She has worked in the credit union movement for 8 years. Cooper connects Royal with the communities it serves by forming impactful partnerships focused on financial education delivery. She leads Royal's Correctional Facility Education Program and coordinates the credit union's virtual financial education resources. She is also a co-host of Royal's Money Donuts podcast. Deb Paulsen is a certified credit union financial counselor who has been part of Royal Credit Union's financial education team for the past 5 years. As a community financial education coordinator, she shares her passion for financial literacy with people of all ages, including school-age students as well as adult learners. Deb has also helped create some of Royal's signature virtual programs that enable learners to have access to financial education anytime and anywhere. So welcome.
Thank you. We are so excited to be here and be presenting to everyone on this call today. We can get right into our presentation, I think. So we thought we'd give you a little bit of background first on who we are and then who Royal is, although we just got the best introduction I think we could ask for. So I'm Cooper. You can see my face, you can see my picture. I'm not going to tell you much more about me. Deb, do you have anything else that you want to add before we jump in?
No, it was great.
Awesome. So we thought we'd give you a little background about who is Royal, right? So Royal Credit Union is headquartered in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. We serve Western Wisconsin and Eastern Minnesota. We have over 200,000 members, so we're a larger credit union. And credit unions are community focused. So especially Royal, it's, the bread and butter, it's the heart of everything we do. Credit unions are not-for-profit financial institutions, which is a pretty awesome thing. At Royal, everything we do is connected to our core purpose. It's, making a difference in the lives we touch. So we hope we can make a little bit of a difference for you here today. All right. Ooh, so sorry about that. So we have been able to give back to our communities through all of our different partnerships, over $6 million since 2012, which was a really big impact. We have a really robust financial education team. They are located under our community engagement department, which is pretty special. We operate 29 school site locations from elementary to high school. We base all of our lessons on the Wisconsin state standards for financial literacy curriculum. Then we have 6 core signature financial education programs that reach students from elementary through college. So really robust financial education program that we have here. So our first, thing that we want to talk about when building these impactful financial education partnerships is the importance of looking local. So when you are looking to start a program or find someone to help you with this, starting local with your community banks, your credit unions is going to be a really great place to start. So most of these institutions, financial education is often part of their values and their core purpose. As a credit union, it's one of our just cooperative values is providing that education. But many times, it's just the right thing to do. So these community banks and credit unions are really focused on that. There's also a whole bunch of different nonprofits out there that are also focused on financial education. So Family Means is one that we recommend people to quite often. They do all sorts of amazing things. So they offer multiple services. We're going to focus on the financial education part, but I always like to put a plug out there that they do family counseling. They do child development programs, all sorts of really awesome stuff. They focus on budgeting, credit counseling, they do debt management programs. They do just a little bit of everything in that financial education sector. So they're a great resource for both presentations. They offer some webinars and different things like that. They also have some really amazing one-on-one coaching programs as well. Their offices tend to be in the Western Wisconsin region and that Eastern Minnesota, but they are licensed in the whole entire state of Wisconsin. So they've started exploring those virtual connections and it's went really well for them. So reaching out, they can be a really great resource, and they also can point you into, the direction of other really great resources that they have as well. Literacy organizations, which some of you are probably very, very familiar with, right? So some of our strongest partnerships have stemmed from those literacy organizations that are out there. Typically, they might already be providing some sort of programming or have some sort of partnership. And it's really awesome to build in that financial education piece where we get to, use one of their sessions or fit into some of their curriculum somehow. Our correctional facility program started with a partnership with Literacy Chippewa Valley. So they were providing programming in one of our county jails. And they said, hey, we think financial education is the right thing to provide. So we said, all right. And that has been a really strong partnership ever since. So that was in 2015. UW Extension offices are also a really great place to look. They have multiple locations across Wisconsin. They do, again, one-on-one programming. They have online module-based courses, and they even will do some presentations. They also have a whole bunch of downloadable guides and program opportunities, as well as some financial coach training. And Deb's going to cover that a little bit later. And then one of the biggest parts is collaboration. Okay, so, you can't always build these programs without some sort of collaboration, and that collaboration is what really starts to make them special. So finding a really strong partner that, will advocate for that program. So it's often incorporating, those new students or potential partners or different, individuals that are already using your organization. Giving them examples of what individuals have said, what they're learning, makes a really big difference. When you care about your program and when you are excited about offering this opportunity, it creates that impact and it creates that want to be part of this program. Helping organize, the signups and the presentation space. When you are the one that's organizing signups, trying to get those individuals on board, booking that presentation space, it's just, again, that buy-in that makes a big difference. It, helps with that time management, making sure individuals can get to that presentation. When you have a sign up, it also creates, a bit more commitment too. So we want people, committed, you get a better number of students. Sometimes programs will be a multi-day, function. And so being able to have that commitment for multiple days makes a really big difference too. So, that those individuals are gonna, get the best information, they're gonna do their best learning over the course of that program. Having a really good partner also helps to create consistency and growth in the program. So, having someone that is that point of contact person, understands how this program works is really, really special. So I'm going to give you a lot of Royal examples just because it's what I know. But, we have one of our correctional facility programs is at the Chippewa Valley Correctional Treatment Facility. So that's in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. And I have an outstanding program partner there. Her name is Heather. I think that sometimes she gets more excited about the program than I do. And I'm really excited about the program all the time. So she, has the sign up. She's always recruiting different men to be in the program. And so at that, facility, we have a wait list of individuals trying to get into this program. And trying to do it before they, release back into their societies and go to their jobs and things like that. It's also really helped create this awesome facility of financially smart men where they take the program, they talk about it with their other, their bunkmates and things like that. They talk to the staff about it, they talk to the guards, and it's just really special. So, without that really strong partner and advocate of the program, it would not be what it is. And they're also a resource to bounce ideas off of. So when you have that really strong partner, whether it be, at the literacy organization or organization trying to build this partnership, or at, your credit union, your local financial, whoever you're partnering with, they're the experts at both their organizations. So being able to come together, bounce ideas off of, talk to the experts, and figure out what's really going to work best is so crucial. You know, we are going to talk about a foundation of a financial literacy program, but they all are unique and they all adapt to the audience and the group that you're working with. So having that, you know, partner to be able to tell you like, hey, that doesn't quite work, or, oh my gosh, that was a really awesome idea is really helpful. This came into play, again, in one of our correctional facilities. Stacy is wonderful. She lets me know all the things if I'm doing them really well or if she has suggestions. And we have a really sound structure for our correctional facility program. But at this specific jail, just based on the population that's there and where they're going to go throughout their sentencing, we have adapted it to not do a specific activity because that activity makes those individuals, it can make them feel a little bit defeated because it's something that they're not going to be able to do for a very long time. So that's something, you know, we adapted to make this program still just as impactful, but also keeping, you know, the individual's feelings and their whole life journey in mind as well. Okay, I'm going to throw it over to Deb and she's going to talk about all the awesome pieces. I'm going to actually give her control of my screen so she can move her slides.
All right, thank you, Cooper. So getting into building the actual program that you want to share and what curriculum you're going to use, we look at a few key topics that seem to be really valuable to incorporating into the programming. So some of those key topics are really just talking about spending habits, saving, budgeting, credit. And when we talk about credit, not only about, you know, how to build credit, but maybe they need to rebuild credit. A lot of the people that we work with tend to be in situations like Cooper was talking about. They might be incarcerated at the time and they're trying to rebuild their life, or we work with people in rehab facilities who are rebuilding their life. So just kind of giving them that hope that, you know, things can be better and how to rebuild credit. We also talk about credit scores, you know, what the scores mean, what affects them, and also, you know, credit reports. So what's contained in a credit report, how you request one, all of these, you know, kind of real basic things. We also help, we add in dealing with debt. So a lot of people are in a situation where they want to know, you know, what steps to take to deal with debt. Also setting short and long-term financial goals. So these are all kind of key pieces that really affect people's lives. So kind of starting with that and then expanding upon those ideas. So if you are working with a group that wants to know more than just the basics, some of the ideas that you might have for teaching them would be maybe investing. That's one that people ask about a lot. They want to know more about investing, or retirement, how to save and plan for retirement. Maybe you have people that are first-time home buyers, or, you know, when we work with younger groups, we have people that want to know how, you know, to manage paying for their first vehicle and getting a loan for that, or a student loan, you know, HSA accounts, different things like that. So kind of building upon those basics and really paying attention to your audience and what their needs are. And so kind of with that, conducting evaluations are a really great tool to help you determine, you know, whether or not what you're teaching is successful. So pre and post tests are great tools for measuring the knowledge gains and even attitudinal changes. So if you're giving them a pre-test, you can ask questions, you know, about how confident they feel with managing their money. You can even ask, you know, specific questions about the topics that you're teaching. And then the post-test will include those same questions again, but then you can compare from where they were when they started to where they're at the end. You know, have they gained knowledge on the topics that you've talked about, and has their attitude or their feelings about it changed? Evaluations also help you keep evolving and improving your program offerings. So you can see when you're looking at your evaluations, maybe there are certain questions that tend to be missed by a lot of the participants. And that could be a key that you're not giving them enough information about that in your lesson. Or maybe you just need to address that you know, more fully. And also, you know, you can then change your curriculum going forward. You can make changes, you can tweak it, and make sure you're staying relevant with what you're teaching your students. And then also surveys are a really great tool to use because they provide insight into what the individuals want to learn. So an example of that is one of the nonprofit groups that I work with. Their group leader will survey the group before I come in and do a presentation to find out what they want to learn. So I work with different cohorts with this organization. And so 3 times a year, there's a different cohort going through their program. And it changes with each group, even though they all have very similar characteristics to the groups before. They're different people. Everybody has different individual needs. So surveying the group before you do your financial education with them really helps you determine not only what basics you want to cover, which, you know, we tend to always cover the same basics, but then throwing in that extra information and expanding upon it to meet their needs. And then just as you're building your curriculum, be open to adaptation. So like I was just saying, all presentations are going to be unique if you allow them to go where the students need more emphasis. But, you know, really just pay attention as you're delivering your curriculum with them too. And we field a lot of questions during our presentations that kind of take us off on another route. But, you know, it's great because you're starting with building those key skills, but you're really making it relevant to where they are and what they need. So really listening to their questions and experiences will help you. Okay. So financial education resources. This is a really big part of what Cooper and I do as well, is really looking at the different resources that are out there to help us build our curriculum. And so I want to cover some of the ones that we use most often and we find a lot of helpful information, and they can be great tools for you to use as well. To get curriculum from, or to really, if you are designing your own curriculum, you know, giving you the facts that you need. So the CFPB is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And they are a government agency that makes sure that banks and lenders and other financial companies treat you fairly. And so they have a consumer education tab on their website that has just all kinds of money topics and information that you can use. And then the FTC is the Federal Trade Commission, and they are also full of all kinds of consumer information. They have things like you can, you know, register for the do not call list on there. There's a report, or there's a link to get your credit reports on there if you want to go through them. Otherwise, you can go to annualcreditreport.com and get that information as well. But they just have all of this helpful consumer information about money and credit, homes and mortgages, jobs and making money. They talk a lot about scams and fraud. And so especially if you're someone who is working with people that have English as, you know, as it's not their main language, and maybe they're not from here originally, they might not understand a lot of consumer protections that are in place. And this is a really great resource to go to help them understand what their rights are and what to do if something has happened to them and they need to take corrective action. And then we also have Practical Money Skills, a website that we go to. This has a really robust curriculum for learners with special needs and also Spanish-speaking individuals. mymoney.gov is a site that is sponsored by the Financial Literacy and Education Commission. And they are in place to help all people make informed financial decisions. And so there's information for various life events that you can find there, you know, whether it's going off to school or buying a home or planning for retirement. They also have tools like calculators, worksheets, checklists, and then they have special resources for educators on there as well. The Wisconsin Department of Financial Institutions, or the DFI, has a lot of professional development available on their site. And so if you want to take a webinar and learn more about things, you could go to the DFI. You could also get curriculum from them to use with students. They have a lot of information for the public on personal finance and investment protection. They talk a lot about saving for college. And then they also have financial wellness resources on their page. So anything from budgeting and insurance to managing debt, saving and investing, consumer rights, frauds and scams. And then as I'm looking at this page, I think I might have accidentally clicked one too many. I might have missed one, so I might have to go back. But Mentimeter is not a resource to use for finding information, but Mentimeter is a resource that we often use for our presentations. And we started using it when we were doing more virtual presentations when the pandemic first hit, and everything kind of went to Zoom presentations. But it's actually a tool that I use in person with students as well. And Mentimeter is a website that you can use to upload your presentation, so you can put it into Mentimeter, but it's an interactive site. So students will use a mobile device and they'll get a code and they'll go to menti.com. And when they put the code in, your presentation comes up on that. So they can follow along on that, but you can also sprinkle in questions. You can do quiz questions with them, or you can just do where you're looking for them to give you feedback or information. We like to make it competitive in some of the classes. So there's a scoreboard and it keeps track of who's answering the most questions right and doing it the fastest. And then it's kind of fun to incorporate a prize or something that it really engages students to really be part of your presentation and listen and give you the feedback and feel like they're part of it as well. So Cooper, if I want to go back, I think there is a slide before this. No? Okay. Sorry. Is it? Okay. Thank you. Okay. So just a few more resources as well that I'd really like to let you know about. So the UW Extension, Cooper talked about that earlier. They have financial coaching certificates and webinars available on their site. They have all kinds of information on there for you to utilize. And like Cooper was saying, there's a lot in like the western part of the state, but it's all over the entire, well, that was Family Means More, but UW Extension is throughout the whole state. So they are also great. They have financial coaching. Like I said, you can get a certificate in that. They have articles on topics like taxes and credit. So just a really great site. And then the National Financial Educators Council. That's something that Cooper and I are actually involved with right now. So we're getting a certified financial education instructor certificate. And that's a program that you can pay to go through to get that certification. But the information on there is amazing. Not only does it talk a lot about financial education topics, but it just really talks about how to present to different audiences and how to be an effective presenter, and a lot of tools that educators use. So although Cooper and I do financial education as, our jobs, we aren't people with teaching certifications. We know a lot about the information that we're teaching, but we haven't gone through the formal training of, like what a teacher would go through and knowing how to connect. So this has been a really great tool for giving us that extra piece. NGPF, Next Gen Personal Finance, is a really great website that provides free financial education. A lot of teachers use it. A lot of like middle school and high school teachers can get curriculum off of there to use with their students. Financial educators, we use it a lot. You can also get free certifications on a variety of financial topics through them. So if I wanted to learn more about budgeting and how to teach budgeting, I can go through a more in-depth certification process with them, or I could just pull up a lesson or two and use those. So it's a really great resource to learn about a variety of topics that have to do with financial education. Wisconsin Department of Financial Institutions, Office of Financial Capability, that's also tied in with the DFI. And so that's just really, that has a lot to do with webinars that they're offering people to go through, and you can find that through the DFI. And then also Facebook groups. There's a lot of great Facebook groups out there. If you want to learn more about financial education, a couple of our favorites are FinEd Fanatics and Financial Coaches Unite. And then podcasts are also another great thing. We have our Money Donuts podcast, which Cooper is a co-host of, and that's an excellent resource. We talk about, they talk about different topics each week. Bad with Money, Planet Money, Nerd Wallet, are all different podcasts. There's a ton out there. So you find one really that kind of fits with what you're looking for, and it's a great way to learn as well. All right, and with that, I'm going to pass it back over to Cooper.
Awesome. Thank you, Deb. So we want to kind of round out this presentation, sharing with you some examples of successful partnerships. You know, this is a really great start where you can, you know, spark some interest, spark some ideas, and just figure out exactly kind of what you might want to do. So we are going to start with a few in the Eau Claire area. And our first one is our correctional facility programs. You've heard me talk about this quite a bit throughout our presentation, but this one started in the Eau Claire County Jail in 2015. It was a partnership with Literacy Chippewa Valley, and it has really just grown from there. So we are in multiple facilities. We're in 3 county jails, 1 state prison facility. So we're at Dunn County, Eau Claire, Barron, Chippewa Valley Correctional Treatment Facility. And on the very bottom bullet point, you can see we're currently expanding into 2 new facilities, and the St. Clair County Jail is actually one we've completed our partnership with. So we are actually starting curriculum and facilitation of lessons next week, which is really exciting for us. We also spent a lot of time, Deb was talking to you about, you know, that measurement of knowledge and looking at those attitudinal changes. And that was something that we did with this program. So we partnered with a university in our area and we conducted research. We wanted to see how effective this program was. We wanted to see, you know, those attitude and behavioral changes within these individuals. And, you know, the results were overwhelmingly positive, but we did make some changes based on those results, just to curriculum for clarity, and making sure, you know, we are reaching the individuals where they need to be. So that's, you know, one really great partnership. We have awesome program partners. I talked about Heather, I've talked about Stacy, and they are truly a huge part of what makes this great success. All right, Deb's gonna talk about this one.
Yeah, so Tree Trust is an organization that we partner with in the metro area. So they're located in St. Paul, Minnesota. They're a nonprofit organization that equips people to achieve skilled trade, green careers, to create economic opportunity and equity. So they have a lot of different participants coming through their program that are learning skilled trades, but also part of that is they have such a comprehensive program there that they're learning those skills for their job, but they are also spending classroom time as well, learning other things in financial education as part of that. So a lot of them are from more disadvantaged backgrounds. And so they're really just trying to give them like the full package before they're going out into the world and getting jobs. And a lot of these are like young adults or 14 to like 21-year-olds. So partnering with them really aligned with our core values and purpose and making a positive impact in their lives. We have built that partnership and the trust with them through listening to their needs and delivering customized presentations. So this was a group that I was talking about where the leader of the group will survey the students ahead of time and then send me the results of the survey and what the students would like to learn. And I can incorporate that into my presentations before I go and meet with them. And so really just kind of having that open communication with them and really listening to their needs and trying to meet those through what we're doing has been a really great way to work with them. And so the partnership is mutually beneficial. So the students receive financial education, we're able to live out our purpose, and then also possibly attract new members. I mean, that's not our main goal with it, but it all, you know, it is something like they know that they can trust us with their financial matters if they're looking for someone as a financial to work with. And then through this partnership, other things have evolved, such as we were able to donate $30,000 to their organization recently to allow them to buy a mini skid steer to use on the job with their students. So they were learning new skills with that piece of equipment. It was helping them get work done. It was helping them become certified with another piece of equipment as they're going out into the job force. And that was just something that just came about through the partnership. So you never really know, like when you're partnering with people, how you might be able to help each other in different ways. And just kind of is how things evolve.
All right, and then one more that we have here in the Eau Claire area is the Power of Perception, and this is one of our newer partnerships. So POP or POP is a mentorship group for African American and biracial youth. So Royal conducts our signature Fuse Future U.S. Entrepreneurs program with these students. I actually just wrapped up a session last week, which was fabulous. And in 2021, we also developed and launched a program for the parents of these students as well. So they were able to attend 5 sessions. They received a dinner and a gift card at the end of it, but just provided a lot of different things on topics that they wanted to learn about. We are planning to start that program again in the spring, which is very exciting. We got a lot of really great feedback from the different parents and, you know, lessons that they want us to expand on, like we were talking about. And then another one, the last partnership I'm going to share with you is Ready to Rent. So this is a pilot program for individuals who are at risk of becoming homeless or who might be homeless. So they built a really unique curriculum focused on budgeting, spending needs, planning for security deposits, moving costs, credit, and building those good relationships with your landlords and keeping that good financial communication with them as well. They partner with other organizations too. So this has been a really awesome one to watch, you know, the whole community come together to help make a difference. The health department, the police department, the local landlords, and the fire department all come in and share our time during these presentations, which is fabulous. So that is what we have for our presentation today. I know that Deb and I just want to say thank you so much for spending your time with us. I'm actually going to drop both of our emails in the chat too, just so you can reach out to either one of us, both of us, whatever. We're always happy to chat. That's probably the best part of our jobs, is getting to, you know, share resources and knowledge and building those relationships with others. So reach out to us anytime. And that is what we have for you. So thank you again.
Thank you. Shannon, are there any questions in the chat for Cooper and Deb?
We have a couple comments. One is I'm excited to research these sites and try and incorporate some lessons that enrich financial education curriculum. And there's another one. Are you aware of programs like this throughout the state?
Yeah, so, you know, I don't know that there are specific programs exactly like ours throughout the state. So that's kind of where it comes into finding those local leaders in your community credit unions, community banks, and then those other resources that we shared, like Family Means. So they are, you know, who we can recommend that you reach out to try and either figure out if there is something like this or to even start building it.
And I have a follow-up question on that. So you spent a lot of time about kind of going over some of those partnerships that you've nurtured in the communities. So if I am a small organization the process to start, do most banks, is it just calling the bank and saying, I'd like to start a financial education program and have a relationship with your organization? You know, what would you recommend? And then also a follow-up to that is, you mentioned there's some programs that have, or some of the websites had information in different languages. And do you use that a lot? As far, can you just print that off? Is that readily available resources?
Yeah, so I'll talk about the different language resources. Deb, do you want to talk about reaching out and building that relationship? Awesome. So we do and don't use those, you know, other language resources. So we do have an awesome member of our team. She's fluent in Spanish, has taught Spanish. So she has done some lessons specifically with Spanish speaking individuals. We have an elementary school that has a really immersive Spanish program. And so those have been really helpful to us. CFPB specifically, you can print off resources in Spanish. You can order free resources, free booklets, all sorts of awesome things. And they have a couple other languages as well. So that's really exciting. So yeah, so Deb, you want to take the other first part of that question?
Sure, and Cooper, jump in if you have a better response than me too, but I would say yes, just reaching out to your local community bank or credit union. They would probably have more resources in place to help you with financial education than maybe a larger bank that, you know, is nationally based, just because the ones that are you know, more community centered, really like to reach out to the community and work with them, and you know, have that as part of their mission, as to why they're there, to help the community. So, and if they don't have the resources, you know, because not all have a financial education team or have the ability, but they hopefully can help point you in the right direction of others that they would know of, through us being in that business.
Yeah, awesome. And that, you know, is a big part of how our partnerships start. So they see Royal in the community and they say, hey, I bet they would do this for me. And they reach out and say, you know, do you want to come into our jail? Do you have the ability to just give us a presentation on, you know, whatever financial topic it may be? So that, I mean, still is how we are building and creating new partnerships too. And I just saw another question in the chat. So Ashley asked, how long and how many sessions are the elementary and high school financial literacy programs? So they all vary. So our elementary school program, signature program, is a one-day event. So we take our whole team of financial educators, we get into every single class and give them a lesson on financial literacy that is tailored to their age group. High school financial literacy programs, our test drive event is a really big one. That's a full day event. But we also do many, you know, 1 hour classes, half an hour classes, different things like that. So the cool thing is, you know, Royal specifically, and I would say most, you know, individuals that are hoping to do these partnerships and other organizations can customize them. And as far as adding more school sites, you know, we are always open to listening about it. There's quite a process behind it, but we're hoping, you know, maybe someday to expand into that metro region. So yeah.
I have another question.
Yeah.
Cooper, we had a conversation about information that Workforce Resource was also doing. Our W-2 agency here in the Northwest was doing a program and offering, I can't recall if that was a one-day session or if that was multiple modules that folks would work through, but that was another partnership. Would you mind just sharing a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that one's a really unique partnership. So Workforce Resource uses the UW Extension's module-based program for their participants to do. So once those individuals complete all of those modules, Royal offers a $50 incentive for them to come in and open an account, and we deposit that $50 into a new checking account that they would get with us. So it's kind of, you know, a 3-organization program, but it's went pretty well and has been a really great thing that we started.
Okay, if there are no more questions, I am just one moment. So thank you everyone for attending Building Impactful Financial Education Programs. And thank you Cooper and Deb for sharing your knowledge. The session was sponsored by Wisconsin Literacy. Our next training is Intention and Attention, Cultivating Awareness to help you focus on what matters. And that is tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. If you enjoyed this session, join us for the Big Share on March 1st, a day of online giving that allows Wisconsin Literacy to offer this type of programming. And you can see here on the slide in front of you a number of upcoming events that we have, including an information session on our Vaccine Community Outreach Subaward program. We have a Thursday morning coffee chat, advancing digital literacy across Wisconsin with our UW Extension partners. The Big Share is on March 1st, and then our Wisconsin Health Literacy Summit in Madison, April 4th to the 6th. Please watch your email inbox as Beth will be sending you an evaluation. And someone had asked in the chat, I believe earlier, if this presentation would be available after the session. It takes a moment to process the video recording, but we will put that up on our website along with the slides. So thank you again and have a great rest of your day.